Face mapping is a fabulous tool so you can actually get to know a person's personality just by looking at their face. It's been around for centuries. It's been practiced by many different cultures. And it is something that, once you know some basics, you can see a lot about somebody. You can really learn a lot about somebody's personality, the way they like to make decisions, how they think, how they feel, and how they act. It's kind of, it's kind of a bit crazy in that you can really learn a lot about somebody really quickly. And they do get a little bit intimidated at times when I tell people that I do this, because they're like, "You're not reading my face right now, are you?" Or the other thing I get is, "Tell me more, what can you see?" So it's kind of like, there's no kind of in between really. Everyone either, people are really intrigued or people are really scared.
Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name is Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com, and Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners, and you can find it on all good podcast streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today my guest is Tristan Betts, and Tristan's business is Inspired Energy, and today we're going to be talking about face mapping and how it can help you in your business and in your life. And Tristan is the owner and founder of Inspired Energy and is a career coach, body language expert, and a HR professional who has a passion for people and connection. Tristan really thrives on human interaction and believes that connection and communication are core to our human existence. Her experience with face mapping has deepened her commitment to creating more meaningful connections with people within themselves, with their families, and with their relationship. She loves revealing to women the beauty of their own faces, as well as how to read others to provide them with an edge in business. Welcome, Tristan.
Thanks, Rose. Nice to be here.
Good. Tell me a little bit more about what face mapping is.
Face mapping is a fabulous tool so you can actually get to know a person's personality just by looking at their face. It's been around for centuries. It's been practiced by many different cultures. And it is something that, once you know some basics, you can see a lot about somebody. You can really learn a lot about somebody's personality, the way they like to make decisions, how they think, how they feel, and how they act. It's kind of, it's kind of a bit crazy in that you can really learn a lot about somebody really quickly. And they do get a little bit intimidated at times when I tell people that I do this, because they're like, "You're not reading my face right now, are you?" Or the other thing I get is, "Tell me more, what can you see?" So it's kind of like, there's no kind of in between really. Everyone either, people are really intrigued or people are really scared.
Yeah, I don't blame them. It's I think it's either a pleasure or a pain. It could be.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not so truthful and they try to put on a truthful face.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because face mapping goes beyond that, right? So if I was to explain to you, like, there's kind of like 3 levels to someone's face and personality. Like, we're talking right now, so you and I can speak and we can, say what we like, and we can control that. And then the next level is, the expressions. Like, I can, open my eyes and go, crazy. I can control that as well. But face mapping, it kind of goes down a deeper level, and it's actually the structure and the experiences that you've had in life that actually create the face that you have. So it's kind of like you can't hide. Even though you can, hide your, the whole poker face thing, which I don't have, even though you can hide your thoughts and feelings, in terms of, showing your expression, you can't hide the true you when you actually know face mapping. So that's,
okay.
I think, the scary bit.
About how you map a face?
Yeah, look, in terms of probably the first thing that you look at is the overall face shape. So, everybody has a distinct face shape, there are probably about half, and if we were to generalize, there's probably about 6 different, and then you have combinations of the two. So my face is very oval, and in terms of oval shaped face, the personality is quite warm, flexible. It has a lot of the qualities of a circle, but because of the elongation, and when the longer the face, the more humanitarian and the more idealistic somebody is. Then you look at the left and the right sides of the face. So everyone kind of thinks that their face is symmetrical, and when you actually look at it, it's like not. And so when we're talking about the symmetry of the face, so if we were to draw a line from the top of the forehead straight down through the nose, the mouth, all the way down to the chin. And the interesting thing between the two sides of the face is that they represent the different way that you operate in your personal life as opposed to your professional life. So it also, the left side of the face is all about how you operate in your internal world, and it also talks to your female relationships, and it's also about your feminine side and how you actually like to, what goes on for you inwardly. Whereas the right side is more about how you operate at work, in your career, your male relationships, and it's more your actual doing side. So yeah. And then, it goes even deeper. We go into the 3 different areas of your face. So you have the top part of your area, which is the thinking or conceptual area. And then we have the middle section of the face, which is from the eyebrows to just under the nose. That's the connection or the emotional area. And then underneath the nose, down to the bottom of the chin and the jaw, is the physical or action orientated part of the face. Now you're like, well, what does that mean? Like, thinking, feeling, doing, what does it kind of mean? When you look at somebody, if you check out to see which of those areas is the largest, that's how that's where they spend a lot of their time, and that's how they like to connect. So, someone with a large forehead is quite a thinker and wants information to connect, whereas somebody who's got a much larger emotional area or really wants to connect and wants the story and the experience and how that actually relates to them. And then, if someone's got a much bigger jaw area, they're much more physical, like to get things done, give them a little bit of space, give them some information and let them, make their own choices and decisions.
All right, we're going to have people out there with measuring tapes now.
Yes, that's true. People are like, how do we make sure that we can, it's what's obvious, right? So, sometimes you can't tell. And then you've got people, and I think I was like this. I hope I am, still, I have quite even areas. So for me, it kind of, what that means is that, I might think about something, I'll feel into it, and then I'll do it. I kind of do it really quickly. So if you can't really tell, then, they're quite balanced in the way that they make a decision. And then on top of that, so that's the, kind of like the basic stuff. And then each of the features tell a different story on multiple levels. And, if we were to go through them all, we'd be here all day. So,
so do you say that the eyes are the window to the soul? Is that true?
Correct. That is so true, because that's the person's outlook on life. It's also connected with the chakra system. So, the heart is the green chakra, and of course this is across here in the face. And looking at somebody's eyes, you can really tell a lot about how they like to operate, where they come from with their heart. Especially, I love eyebrows. They're my favorite thing. But eyes and eyebrows are kind of the thing that really tell me a lot about somebody's personality. Just by looking at the angle of the eye, the distance between the eyes, the eyelids. The eyelids tell you how people like to be in intimate relationships.
Oh, really? Wow.
That is really cool. Yeah. And, underneath part of the eyelid tells you, how open people are. So when the the bottom of the eyelid's quite straight, they really they're quite cautious, and they might agree with you. They might nod their head at you know whatever you're saying, but they might not necessarily agree with what you're saying. So yeah.
All right. So how can people use this in a business context? I mean, you know, it's interesting to know that, you know, you can use face mapping in a business. So how, I guess it's, you know, whether you can trust the person that you're speaking to or you're not.
Yeah, well, trust is an interesting thing because that you can see in you can tell how trusting someone is just by looking at their nose and the angle of the nose. How can you use it in a business sense? So with my background in HR, in terms of recruitment, I could see really quickly how, you know, stuff people would, you know, might be telling you about, you know, what they do and how good they are, blah, blah, blah. Really easily could see, yes, that was true, or maybe that wasn't so true. So, you know, it can really help, not that it, you know, it was ever used to make recruitment decisions, but it was, you know, a recruitment support tool. It's also used in some places they use it for jury selection, because, you know, they can tell, you know, how rigid people are in their thinking, and, you know, how open-minded they are. And it can also be used in sales. So I do a little program with some of my clients and helping them to know how to read someone's face so that they connect better when they're actually trying to make a sale. It is used as a team building activity, which is, you know, great fun when, you know, people may not necessarily know enough about their colleagues or the people that they work with. It really is a lovely way to acknowledge and learn, you know, some lovely things about somebody which you would never not normally come across in a normal conversation. In a work perspective, it's kind of like if you've heard of Myers-Briggs, you know, the MBTI.
Yes.
Or DISC profiling. It's kind of like having that information given to you instantaneously, so without someone having to fill out a questionnaire. So it's kind of, yeah, it's pretty cool in that respect. How else can you use it? I've worked with teachers to help them, you know, with connecting with the parents of the children. With regards to the kids themselves, it's probably not a thing that you would be able to, you know, read, because your face is forming up until you're about 16. So the validity of it, I wouldn't, you know, use for children. But yeah, in terms of, you know, it's pretty much useful with everybody you meet. As I was saying before about the eyelids and the intimacy, I've had clients who've sent me photos of their prospective dates from dating apps and asked me to, you know, give them the insights, which, you know, can be helpful. So, look, yeah, I think the sky's the limit, right? You could, if you're looking at creating greater connection with anybody in your life, whether it be, you know, clients, you know, colleagues or family, this is a tool that can do that.
Yeah, I can usually tell if someone's not telling me the truth because their nose twitches or their eyes, they don't look me in the eye, you know, directly, or their eyes are all, you know, searching around somewhere. So
yes,
usually I can tell if they're not being 100% honest. So
yeah.
even I don't know, even in a phone call, I can still tell that they're not telling me the truth. Don't ask me how I know that, but I do.
Oh, that's your instinct, right? And we were all face readers when we were born. Like when you're a baby, that's your first form of communication.
Of course it is, yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, what happens is once we get our language skills, we kind of lose that ability to really look at people. I think for me, one of the things that I find, you know, in our society a little bit frustrating is that people don't look into other people's eyes. Like, it was interesting that you mentioned eyes, because it is the window to the soul, and, you know, really to get to see someone's true nature, you know, just by looking at them in the eye. But it's something we tend not to do. So
I think we've been conditioned, though, over the years not to actually do that, because in some cultures it's quite rude to, like, stare someone in the eyes.
It is. Like, I've got an Indigenous background, and Aboriginal people don't like looking in the eyes. So yes, that's very true. But, I think from my experience, when I actually do look someone directly in the eye and really connect, you do kind of get a deeper connection than if you were, looking at the ground, looking at their mouth, whatever, wherever, wherever
I
else you're
tend to
looking.
look at people's mouths for some reason rather than their eyes. I think, I don't know, there's something about people's mouths. They're either honest or they're not, to me anyway. I think it's maybe it's because the way I grew up. I'm not sure, depending on the look on someone's face. So if the mouth wasn't sitting right, then I knew that I was in for it, So yeah.
The mouth is all about communication and listening. So how well people communicate and how well they listen. It also shows sensuality, because it's the sacral chakra. So you can tell, and the Cupid's bow thing, you've kind of got that going on.
Yeah, I've had a really deep one it's getting less and less now, but
that's a shame, because it's a really good quality to have, because it pretty much means whatever you go after in life, you pretty much can get. So I've kind of got it as well. So what I do is I make sure the lipstick is really defined.
Mine's as I'm getting older, it's getting less, but it used to be quite deep before. But I think it's just all the wrinkles here now, just sort of breaking everything down.
Yes. Everyone has an opinion on wrinkles. I think they're amazing. Like, they tell the story of your life.
They do. Yeah.
I'm not an advocate of Botox or plastic surgery by any stretch of the imagination. So I kind of look at lines, as I like to call them, as, they're kind of like, the story of your life, but they're also like a lesson that you've learnt in life or an experience that you've had. And I've kind of said to, clients before who've wanted to go and have Botox, it's like, well, do you really want to have that lesson again? Because if you do get rid of it, it kind of feels like you're going to have that lesson again.
Yeah.
So
I don't want that lesson. I don't want any more lessons. I've had enough. Absolutely no. So in what other ways can we use face mapping in life or at work?
Yeah, look, at work, I remember when I was studying, and one of my colleagues that was sitting next to me, he had an amazing face. So he'd be like, "Are you looking at me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." But and even just like in terms of I do one-on-one sessions with people, and I've had people come along who've maybe had a really bad story, or a lot of people don't like their noses. And noses are all about yourself, your sense of self, your ego, your identity, who you are. So it's kind of like, if you don't like your nose, it's really not a self-love kind of an action. The noses are also about how your work, how you are at work, and they also show your relationship with money. So
I've got a big snob, so I can't be I'm not good with money, so
doesn't mean you're good with money or not good with money, but it's about your relationship with money. So the nostrils tell you how you are with your money. So the bigger the nostril, the more generous, and the more that the money can. And that colleague that I used to work with, he had lovely huge nostrils, and he was incredibly generous to the point of giving too much of himself and his money. How else can you use it? It's a really good way to connect with your family. We all have similar features to it is based on nature. Obviously, you might look like your parents, or you might look like your siblings, but your life experiences will be different to theirs. So you will have different features because of the different experience. I can also tell about childhood experiences, particularly in the ears and around the hair growth on the forehead. Whether they've been good or not is, usually open to a discussion. I find in the one-on-one sessions that, it's a really beautiful way for someone to truly be seen, because quite often people don't really look. And when I look at somebody, I can see, that they've had an experience, or that they've had some trauma, and it then opens the dialogue for a conversation. And when people have had a feature that they don't particularly like, when they learn about what that feature actually shows, there's kind of like a bit of a shift, or sometimes a complete backflip. And so it gives people, I think, being able to love your own face. I think that's probably why I do this, because I was never particularly, in love with my face. As a teenager, you get picked on at school, and you get called names, and you carry all of this stuff. But once you actually learn what your face shows, and I love the uniqueness of it.
Yeah, everyone's different. It doesn't matter. Even in families, as you say, each one's got a different feature that you may have the same characteristics, but the features or the lines or whatever are all different within the family. So
exactly. And it's interesting how other people observe, because I have my daughter's a young adult, and I don't know, I wish I had $10 for every time I've been told that we look alike. Yeah, I can't see it, right? And I do this, so it's interesting what other people see.
Yeah, my kids, I've got 3. My eldest looks like me, and my son looks like me, but my youngest looks like her dad.
Right.
But people have said that the other 2 look like me, and I think, no, they don't at all. So I think they look like their father. So, there you go.
Yeah. Actually, it was interesting. I saw a little bit earlier today, there was an article on Heath Ledger's daughter, Matilda.
Yeah.
And there was a photo of her, and I was like, they were all going on about how much she looked like her dad, and you could see her dad, but I could also see her mum just as much. So
yeah, I think it's sometimes it's in the eye of the observer as well.
Yeah, well, that's what isn't that the old adage, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so what one finds beautiful, someone else might not. So
exactly. I just find most faces are beautiful, and people who don't really see their natural or true beauty, I love to show them how, what that feature is, and how it can really be a benefit to them, especially the lines. When people know what the lines really mean, they're like, oh wow, that's I'm going to embrace that, I'm going to take that on board.
So how do you go about learning how to do this face mapping?
Yeah, look, if people are interested, I'm happy to offer a free intro complimentary session for them to come along, and I'll do a very brief intro and tell them a little bit more about it, and give them a really quick reading of what I see in their features. And then I also offer one-on-one intensive programs, so people, get to learn more of the detail. They get an opportunity to practice it. And I'm at the moment working on an online program, so that'll be coming out really soon. So
wow, that's exciting. And where can they find you, Tristan?
So they can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn, as well as I've got a website which is being revamped as well. So very busy at the moment. My website's www.inspirednrg.com.au, and Facebook is Inspired Energy, or they can connect through my name. So happy to have a chat to anybody who wants to learn more.
Yes, no, it sounds like an amazing and very interesting topic. I think I might have to go and learn a little bit more about face mapping, because it's intriguing.
Yes.
I mean, if you've lived in if you've had a traumatic life, you are more likely to be able to read someone's face than if you've not. However, there are always other things that you can learn.
Yeah. And look, I think, there are some, and I can tell that, I can tell when people have had a trauma, and you can see the compassion, it's in their chin, it's in the angle of their eyes, often, trauma forms around the mouth, you're talking about lines before. Especially above the lip, they're called survivor lines. So, it's usually because somebody's had a really deep experience, but gives them so much compassion for others.
All right, Tristan, thank you so much for your time today. I will make sure that I get this out to you very quickly, because I think it's really something that's really very interesting, and I think listeners and viewers will be quite intrigued by what you've had to say today.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Rose. Really, it's been a pleasure.
All right. See ya.
Bye.